on so late. It is just can't be helped. Things are just really demanding a lot of our attention throughout the day. And let's see, we'll get comfortable here. And so this is day 1606. I can tell you this, Richard is not a cold case. Everything is moving just really quickly now. And the institutional support keeps growing and growing. And we received information a few days ago, about the prosecutorial misconduct of Bill Hicks's office, his whole office. Of course, Bill Hicks, and it's not just a simple case of prosecutorial misconduct. It is a systemic problem, and it has come out now in an order by Judge Ferguson. And it's just huge for our case, for our son's case, for El Paso. um we are right. We've been right. Our son was code red, premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss for being a whistleblower, and also as a hate crime. Okay, as a hate crime, because they could have done other things to silence him besides kill him. They could have. He was asking to be deployed to a war zone. He wanted out of his unit. The retaliation was just that severe. And they decided to murder him after targeting him and retaliating against him for months and months. And everything in the book, an abuse of power. And, you know, and this was the command. Okay, this was the chain of command. We have evidence it was a chain of command, and they decided to code red murder him and then disrespect his remains. That's why we don't have his remains. We have the declaration of death, the insurance, the receipts that absolutely they absolutely claim that Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss. And, the insurance, they want answers. So we have been right about that. We are right about that. We are right about the whistleblowing. We're right about his unit be engaged in weapons trafficking, a lot of ammunition trafficking, okay? A lot of ammunition. And you have others saying it now too, that we're very, very low in ammunition because it's been trafficked. It's been sold off. And, if you're in the Pentagon, you are going to keep your eyes on the borders. You're going to keep your eye on California, of course. You're going to keep your eye on Washington State, of course. You're going to keep your eye on the coastlines, the eastern coastlines, of course. But the epicenter of the trafficking is Fort Bliss, in El Paso, Texas. That is the epicenter of the trafficking. And absolutely, the Pentagon has failed in doing anything about their 7 failed audits, right? And their border military installations that are engaging in trafficking. And we know that they are engaging in human trafficking because the reports are out there. We know that they're engaging in narcotics trafficking because the reports are out there. And we know that they are engaging in weapons and ammunition and equipment and uniforms, American uniforms. Can you believe that? That's like, here, we'll give you all the stuff so that you can be a Trojan horse. Um, it's absolutely crazy that they are trafficking um, our supplies and really they're trafficking our national security, aren't they? That's what they're trafficking. They're selling out our national security, and they're selling out our volunteer sons and daughters. And so Richard would have no part of it. He would have no part of um, them trafficking unaccompanied children, our equipment, our national security, our national future. Um, you can say, oh, these children that were trafficked were migrants. Um, but where are they? Where are they? Because these children, if they were in other countries, I'm absolutely 500 plus thousand. I mean, we just know about these 500,000 that are missing, right? There's more than that. But these were unaccompanied. They're taken. And how do you know that they're not going to grow up with these beautiful talents to want to come to this country legally to do some good? But no, they were taken and brought here illegally. These are children, these are minors, and they're unaccompanied. They're unaccompanied. So whoever, and now they're unaccounted for. Now we have been told that they are now mostly dead. Richard would have no part of that. No part of that. No part of selling out our future, our children, our sons and daughters. And then with the fentanyl, the narcotics, that is also harming so many families in so many ways, killing so many. Um, this is an attack all the way, right? This is an attack on our children. It's an attack on our mental health. It's an attack on our physical health. It's an attack on our wealth, on our military, on our national security. Um, so, you know, um, absolutely, the Halliday family cannot stand by and just say nothing when we have been um, given privy to so much information that needs to be addressed. And the way it gets addressed is by everyone that's listening to help share the information. To help share the information. So today we have breaking news, and let me see. Happened. Let's see, breaking news. Yeah. On our wealth, on our military. Yeah, there. So, and I know it's so late, but it couldn't be helped. And the breaking news today is that Bill Hicks has been declared, um, not worthy to have his license. The harm that he has done to the judicial and the legal system is just unbelievable. And now we're thanking God that something has been done. Judge Ferguson has put out this order. This also declares us right again, right? Again, we were even doing the breaking news with Loretta Lynn Hewitt's resignation in protest to prosecutorial misconduct in the office, the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office, and we were filing um, everything that we had. Well, maybe not everything. There's so much, right? There's so much. I don't want to go blanket 100%. Let's go 99% of the violations that Bill Hicks has has engaged in, and we have filed those, and then we have reported to the media. We have reported to the media. It is very interesting that Bob Moore, he's so derelict, he's so evil. Bob Moore did not mention that there are allegations out there against Bill Hicks that he's a usurper, that he did not properly even um, install into the office. And how good is an office? How can an office function when the leader of the office is a usurper, is not even legally installed, has no jurisdiction, has uh, uh, no legal right to be a prosecutor because he's not even installed properly. So and Bob Moore doesn't even mention that in the article. So Bill Hicks is in real trouble, and he's not fit. He's like Joe Spencer. Joe Spencer is not fit to have a license as a lawyer. Neither is Bill Hicks. He's not fit either. They are up to no good, and they cause a lot of people harm. When you cause that many people harm, when you are all about injustice instead of justice, when you want to establish evil and crime instead of establishing justice, then you are not fit to have that license. And, the only thing that explains this systemic prosecutorial um, misconduct, along with Joe Spencer's demands for an open checkbook and his defensive systemic, delays, and making deals and sealing the deals, sealing the cases. His misconduct is that, to me, I think there is an El Paso cartel. I think there is an El Paso cartel. I think that there has been a collaboration, an infiltration that turned into a collaboration, reaching into our legal and judicial system, and also seeping into, of course, our military installation there in El Paso, Fort Bliss, right? All the way up to White Sands Missile Range, where that's where I was born. So there is a systemic problem, systemic corruption, and there has to be, the cartels just don't end at the border, right? They just don't end at the border. They were rubbing off. They were rubbing off on criminals in El Paso, and I think now there's enough evidence to call them the El Paso cartel, because there's no explanation for how Bill Hicks could do what he is doing with the support of Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, and then Joe Spencer not even mentioning and them working in tandem to delay, and seal these deals, and agree to more delays, and demand an open checkbook, millions and millions of dollars, and then ignore a whistleblower soldier and his reports, and then ignore um, his murder, his code red murder on Fort Bliss, and now with the connections, very telling connections with the Santa Teresa International Jetport Airport, with tampered with aircraft identification numbers, tampered with flight logs, tampered with pilot names. Um, there's no other explanation but to say that there is an El Paso cartel. And Sean Bernabe needs to answer for that. So does um, James Eisenhower. These generals, all the way, of course, General Michael Garrett, um, which, and absolutely, Clem Coward, absolutely. And, more and more evidence is coming out that we will share with you. We wouldn't say this unless we had um, loads of evidence that corroborated our allegations. Um, there is an organized criminal group that mean us harm, that mean us, well, that are working with, with foreign with foreign countries um, to exploit us, and I really believe it's a national security threat, 100%. I don't even believe it. I know it. I know it is, and so that explains so much of what surrounded Richard and how they could have a code red and ordered internal um, murder of a whistleblower soldier on a military base, and have scare the hell out of the director of emergency services so bad. What else did he give them? They do this sexual favors. He's this sexual um, cult that absolutely they film it and then they blackmail you and all of that. That's all that P. Diddy stuff is all coming out. That's what was going on there. It's all like a big blackmail scheme behind to keep their criminal trafficking um, business going. And, Richard would have no part of it, and he would know, praise God. He, um, he would have no part. Remember, he said, I rather burn my money than spend it on whores and blow. He absolutely was telling us what was going on. And he even told Belen Rocha the object of his warnings, that she should stop getting involved in that kind of work. That she's so young. Of course, he called Child Protective Services on her um, multiple times. But he warned her because he cared about her, like he cared about the 500,000 children, like he cared about our national security. And here's this young, we have evidence, we have testimony that multiple 14-year-olds were, living on Fort Bliss, were spending the night on Fort Bliss. Um, you know, and it wasn't to have birthday parties, okay? Or, balloon, play musical chairs or stand 6 feet apart or whatever. Um, we have all the evidence of really, really serious crimes through the words of Leilani Hart that she put down on paper, notarized it, and filed it in with the FBI. So, it's all there, corroborated, established that, we have it day in and day out. The soldiers were staying drunk. We have even the soldier that deflected what is the word, over to Russia. Um, and he was saying that at Fort Bliss, the 2 years he was at Fort Bliss, he stayed drunk all the time. What the heck is going on, right? It's called the El Paso cartel. That's what's going on. That's what's going on to our detriment. And they will kill to keep it going. And that's what happened to Richard. And of course, Glennon Oakley Jr. was found dead in his barracks room in April of 2020. So just a couple months before Richard. So this is a systemic problem, and Bill Hicks is part of it. Bob Moore is part of it. Joe Spencer is part of it. And the judges that are illegal, that the individuals, I don't even want to call them judges because they're illegal, that sit on the El Paso Magistrate Court is part of it. And the chief medical examiner, that's illegal in this country. He's illegal. He's an immigrant violator, an immigration violator. And, he's not qualified on top of that. He's part of it. And there's the pilots, they're part of it. Then the Richard's unit, they're part of it. And, if you're quiet, if you are, just standing by and afraid and not telling what you know, and what you saw, then, you're facing the same penalties. And if you are part or saw, witness, whatever of the crimes against the children, then you're facing the death penalty. And with Richard's murder, if you know about it, if you witnessed it, if you're protecting it, if you acted in it, then you're also facing the death penalty. And we're coming on so late because so much is happening behind the scenes. A lot of thumbs up. And you see now that, I wonder who's going to be charged and arrested first. Is it going to be Bill Hicks? Is it going to be Leilani Hart? Is it going to be Dallas Hart? Is it going to be who is going to, is it going to be one of these pilots? Is it going to, who's going to, is it going to be Joe Spencer? Joe Spencer. Lots going on there. So, I just want to give that fair notice out there. And also, just to be honest with you, we want more and more people to come forward, because so many are. When we now know who's a pilot and who's part of the VA, who's part of the flights, right? That are connected to El Mayo and El Chapo's son, who's connected to, well, I don't want to say more because that will give it away. But there is all these connections that when one person has all of it, then you know that that's a person, right? When they quack like a duck and act like a duck and look like a duck and their background is like a duck, and then they are the duck, right? That's what's happening here. And so and to be involved in Richard's case, to be concerned about Richard's remains. Um, and that's what we want. We want our son's remains. We want accountability. And we also want that the key whistleblower in our son's case, Judge Roger Rodriguez, who is the only MAGA judge in El Paso County, um, be appointed by the Trump administration. Because if you can withstand this El Paso cartel and you can do the right thing, then I think that you are a good asset for this administration. So that is one of our terms for um, that we sent to President Trump as the art of the deal, the three terms in the art of the deal for Richard Halliday's case: to receive our son's remains, to get accountability for who did this to our son and the cover up, and then also that Judge Rodriguez would be appointed. Get not just any appointment, a marvelous, wonderful, absolutely huge appointment. Um, the best kind of appointment, right? Because when you are a whistleblower, and also a judicial officer, and you make um, official complaints in your judicial capacity, it took us a while to wrap our heads around that kind of risk. But when you know that someone is doing that, that's amazing. But when they're doing that in the midst of an El Paso cartel at the border, um, that is pretty, uh, quote, badass, quote. And that deserves an appointment um, of of the highest degree in our federal um, government, in Trump's administration. So that's really our and we thought about that a lot because we can't have these kind of criminals doing this to children, to their own children. They do it to their own children, and then they do it to other children, and then they groom them into their cartel activity. And they're up to no good. And, we're supposed to leave the place we are better than we found it, not worse. Not worse. And Rob and I went on a beautiful walk this evening, and the moon was, I think yesterday was the full moon, so it was almost full. And it had this just beautiful moon this evening that I took pictures because, um, I think we get so big for our britches, we think that we can get away um, with such terrible criminal activity because we have others that laugh with us and whatever, but really they think bad. Richard was he was right on the money, right? Um, but everything in God's creation um, comes back. Some people call it karma. I call it providence. And the providence, and he explains it really good through Judge Deborah, and saying the stars in their course fought against Sisera, right? So, the air we breathe, the water we drink, bathe in, um, all of creation works against the evildoers. They don't have a chance. If God is for us, who can be against us, right? They don't have a chance. They're never going to achieve what they want. The heavens will never open for them. No. So, I think that hell will split open, and consume them. At least that's what God tells us. Yeah, they'll be in the bowels of hell, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. So, and I don't think that the people, the onlookers that know information, um, want to let those criminals continue to rub against them. You know, you need to really separate. And the way you separate is to do what's right. And, people call it for God and country, right? For God and country. Um, so that would be a good start. Yeah, that would be a good start. So for those that have already um, given us amazing information, we are truly, truly grateful. And the country is grateful. And they might not. This is the thing that my Oma always told me, is that you might not get your thank you. You might not get the gratefulness for the good that you've done. You might not even see it in your lifetime, but it's coming. It's there. And so, yeah, that's kept me going with, how your children are, and you're doing so much for them, and they might not be, oh, they might not even know what you're doing, and you're trying to teach them how to be grateful, how to give thanks, how to give thanks to God. And it's a learning process. And you yourselves are in the I'm in the learning process. And but I think about what my Oma told me, and it's like 1 out of the 10 go back and say thank you to Jesus, right? Make sure that you say thank you. There's a part in one of the movies, I believe it was with Shirley Temple, of Little Princess, where the rich man that was helping her, um, his Indian friend, was saying, don't you want to go and tell her who you are, that you're the one that's helping her, for a thank you? Don't you want a thank you? And he's like, who wants a thank you? I just want to do the right thing. So there's a lot of uh, little things in life that can help you get through, to continue to do the good things without expecting a thank you, even though thank yous are absolutely, Thanksgiving is absolutely the right thing to do. So I hope that all made sense there. I hope it did. Um, and I hope that that is a comfort to you. And ever since our priest was explaining what the word comfort mean, the forte, the um, to power, right? To power, to up the power. Um, that to be comfortable. I'm not going to use that to laze around, like, oh, I'm just really comfortable right now. I'm not going to use that word comfortable anymore. I think I'll say leisure. I'm at my leisure. I'm at my leisure. I haven't been at my leisure for a while, but I'm at my leisure. Oh, I dream about that. Um, but comfort is such a wonderful word. Oh, man. To be empowered, right? To be empowered. To have that righteous energy. So comfort ye my people. Comfort ye my people, saith our God, right? That means come to power. Be inspired. That is amazing. That's so amazing. So with that, I will say good night. Thank you so much for staying even these late nights. And I'll try, like, during the day to come on because I don't mean to be so late at night. I need to come on during the day occasionally. Um, so thank you so much. And please, please share these live streams. We're being hindered, of course, because, we're exposing the El Paso cartel, right? That's what we're exposing. So thank you so much. God bless you. And I'll be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.